Hey guys, it's Jenny with Becoming Homesteaders. Today I am making barbecue sauce with the beautiful Amish paste tomatoes that I started from seed. This is a quick video just to show you my process of how I make barbecue sauce. It's a beautiful day here in Ohio, growing zone 6A. I picked lots of Amish paste tomatoes today. We harvested some of our bell peppers, so we're going to be doing some preserving. I'm going to be making barbecue sauce today and probably cutting up and freezing my bell peppers. So I'm going to take you along as we make this really yummy barbecue sauce. I tried it last year and we're going to do it again this year. These are an Amish paste tomato that I started from seed indoor this year, and I purchased the seed through Baker's Creek. The bell peppers, I purchased those from Baker's Creek as well. They are called California Wonder. Both plants did fabulous. I am dealing with a little bit of tomato blight this year, but still the yield is just fine. They're still producing. The plants don't look as healthy as they normally do, but I'm still getting fruit, so that's all that matters. And I do feel like I'll still continue to get a harvest as the summer progresses. But I'm just going to take these in the house. I'm going to give them a good wash in the sink, cut them in half, remove any blemishes. I'm leaving the cores on, and I'm putting them on a parchment lined baking sheet, and I'm going to roast them in the oven. This, I feel, will be easier for me than the typical putting them in the boiling water for 1 minute, then plunging them in ice water to remove that skin. This is also going to remove a little bit more of the liquid, so a 2-for-1 deal when you do it this way in the oven. Okay, this is after roasting them in the oven at 425 degrees for about 45 minutes. They look pretty good. The skins are coming off nice and easy. I already drained this, but there was a lot of liquid, so that is also going to save a little bit of cooking time, which will be really nice. Okay, tomatoes are skinned and in the pot. A lot of the liquid came off, so that's good. We have 2 cups of onions here, finely diced. We have 3 large garlic cloves, 1 tablespoon of celery seed. We have, it calls for a tablespoon of the red pepper flakes, but I only used a teaspoon, and I added a teaspoon of smoked paprika. Okay, we're going to cook this down for about 30 to 45 minutes or until everything's nice and soft and tender. I did leave everything on the tomato, like the core, because we will be running this through a food mill. So the skin's removed, but that core is not. And these were the Amish paste tomatoes. So there wasn't really a lot to take off to begin with after roasting them in the oven. So if there were little bits of that, see the core right there, I just left it on. It'll cook down and my food mill will catch that then when we go to run all of this through the food mill. This is my food mill that I will be using to run the tomato mixture through to make it a nice smooth sauce. I may also use my Cuisinart stick blender after I do this and after it's cooked, just to get it a little more smooth. And you just turn and it goes, your tomatoes go through this fine sieve here to make it a little bit smooth and get all of those chunks out. You just throw the chunks away or put them in your compost pile. Finishing up now with the barbecue sauce. It has been cooking down for about 40 minutes now. I've added all of my spices. I did get the recipe out of my go-to book, which is the Ball's Complete Book of Home Preserving. You can get this on Amazon or probably at any bookstore. but it's just their basic barbecue sauce. So I did try this last year and I liked it, but I didn't love it. So I thought this year, and I followed the recipe last year to a T. So I thought this year I would try to tweak the recipe a little bit. But this year I did add a few things a little different. Nothing too crazy. And I wrote down my additions on a little sticky note so that I could add it to the book without marking in it. But the original recipe, it calls for 1.5 cups of brown sugar, and I added 2.5 cups of brown sugar total. I did not mess with the vinegar or lemon juice because those are the acids, and you don't want to do any tweaking on those types of things because that could cause your product to spoil or can incorrectly. So the brown sugar I did tweak. I added 1.5 teaspoons of smoked paprika, and then I also added 1/3 cup of my homemade maple syrup. We tapped trees this year, so it is homemade maple syrup. And that's about it. So I had 9 pounds of the Amish paste tomatoes, which I just picked this morning, so they are fresh off the vine. And those I started from seed this year. They did very, very good. I was very impressed. This is the first year I've done the Amish paste. I didn't realize how big those tomatoes were. I was expecting like Roma size. These were huge tomatoes. So I'll throw some pictures up for you, but they looked beautiful. I had 9 pounds exactly, I believe. So then I did roast them in the oven. I showed you all of that. And this is the finished product. So let me bring you over and show you. Here it is bubbling away. It has reduced quite a bit. I do want it to thicken up a little more. And I do have my jars in the canner ready to go. Now this recipe does say that it will yield about 3 pints, and that looks to me about 3 pints. So we'll see. I have my 3-pint jars in here warming up. So I will let this cook down just a little bit longer. Okay, it's starting to get thick, so looks good. It smells so good in here. Maybe just a little bit longer and then we will jar it up. I have all my supplies here. We have our lids or rings. Our jars are over here in the canner, nice and hot. We have a nice big ladle, which I just love this ladle. I got this at Lehman's. It is an amazing store if you are an off-gridder or a canner or a homemaker, a homesteader. They've got everything in that store, but I love this ladle. And the sauce looks nice and thick, so we're gonna go ahead and can this up. And I have my jar getter outer and my paper towel for my white distilled vinegar to wipe the rims off with. Check your jars for any nicks or cracks that would prevent a good seal or possible breakage in your canner. So that's what I do here, as well as wiping the rim off with that distilled vinegar to make sure you get a good seal on your lid. Then I'm just going to put the bands on to fingertip tight and add them to the canner. With more barbecue sauce than I was expecting. So we have 4 pints and then an 8-ounce jelly jar. So not too bad. And the flavor's really good. So into the canner it goes. And you want to make sure your water covers your jars. We're going to bring this to a rolling boil and we are going to process this for 20 minutes. Okay, the timer just went off. 20 minutes has passed. I'm going to leave them sit in the canner with the lid on for another 5 minutes with the heat off, and then we'll remove them out of the canner. I will let these jars sit overnight. Then tomorrow morning I will remove the bands. This I like to do with all of my jars just to make sure that the seal was good. I will then label them with the product that it is and the date that it was canned. Here we go, my 4 pints of barbecue sauce and my 1 8-ounce. It isn't quite as thick in the jar as I was thinking it was going to be, but this has been in the fridge overnight. So I think it'll be fine once we open it. Tastes pretty good. I will be adding more smoked paprika next year. I did make a note of that just to give it that more smoky flavor, but not terrible. So barbecue sauce on the pantry shelf. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys. Remember, if you like my video, give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel, and we'll see you in the next video.